Now, on another matter, it's been nearly a month since the Biden administration rolled out its so-called infrastructure plan. It quickly became clear their proposal mainly focused on everything but the things normal people call infrastructure. The day this plan was introduced, the White House messaging document mentioned the words climate and union more often than roads and bridges. And the numbers back that up. Out of more than $2 trillion in proposed spending, less than 6% would go to roads and bridges. Even when you add in airports, ports, rail, and waterways, the total would still be exceeded by the amount going to electric vehicles alone. Even an Ivy League expert said using infrastructure to describe the totality of the bill, quote, does a bit of violence to the English language. So after a few days of trying to battle the English language, Democrats began to pivot. I understand this is no longer an infrastructure plan. Now it's a jobs plan. But that turns out to be just as dishonest. This proposal isn't any more focused on creating jobs than it is on fixing roads. Even by the favorable metrics that the White House likes to use, this plan would cost Americans more than $800,000 for every new job that would exist 10 years down the road. Serious bipartisan legislation to rebuild American infrastructure could have a big impact at a fraction of the cost. This plan is bloated, unfocused. It's not a targeted recipe for better public works. When America actually puts our mind to things, we can do them. Remember Operation Warp Speed? But this isn't like that. This is a sloppy liberal wish list that would spend a lot and get very little in return. The far left has been bragging about all the social engineering and welfare spending that is stuffed into these proposals. They boasted that the DNA of the Green New Deal is all over this administration's agenda. Roads, bridges, and ports are bipartisan priorities. Water infrastructure and broadband are bipartisan priorities. That's why when the Senate tackles honest-to-goodness infrastructure in a smart way, we almost always have wide bipartisan margins. Last week, our colleague from West Virginia, Senator Capito, got together with the other ranking members of committees that deal with actual infrastructure. These Republicans put forward a smart proposal that would meet pressing needs in actual infrastructure. So now comes the critical moment. Now's the time we learn whether Democrats really want to jumpstart actual public works projects or whether infrastructure was only ever intended as a wrapping paper for unrelated gifts to the far left. Remember what happened when Republicans went to President Biden offering a bipartisan compromise path on COVID relief. They were informed the Democrats were not interested in working together. So our country needs the administration to find a smarter approach.